I know that to solve this country's problems, we ultimately have to come together. But we are at a point in this country where it's taken us easily 60 years to get into this mess, where the country is broke. The country is broke. And not everybody in Washington understands that. This president, with all due respect, doesn't get that. Tammy Duckworth, who's running for Congress, doesn't understand that. The country is broke and the economy out there is dying. It's taken us a long time to get to this point. And I would argue that Washington didn't get to this point because we fought all the time. Politicians, Republicans and Democrats have gotten along just fine over the last 40 or 50 years. Their goal in life is to get reelected. Every election comes along, they continue to promise people things. We continue to grow this thing called government. Both parties do it. They've held hands, and now we're at a crisis point, where if we don't get our fiscal house in order, we will crash if we haven't already crashed. So do I think it's a good thing that rabble-rousers like me went to Congress in 2010 to put the country's spotlight on how serious this issue is? Heck yeah. Do I think it's a good thing that we've fought for a year and a half? Heck yeah. Because we haven't fought for 50 years. The country's been asleep. The message has gotten through. Again, if you just step back, and Obama didn't stop this. So the economy crashes, Bush begins to bail out things, government begins to grow, then Obama gets elected, the Democrats are all in Washington, and boy, they take the football and they run. Huge spending increases, huge stimulus spending, big thing called Obamacare, wanted to get cap and trade. They did a lot. The country reacts. Stop, wait a minute, doesn't feel right, something's crazy here. I want to send those Republicans to Congress just to put a check on things, just to see where things are at. So we go to Congress, and in our first year and a half, we really considered our job just stop where the president's going, bring attention to these issues, and I think you're going to see in this next election, the country will take a next step. They'll either get rid of the Republicans in the House because they don't like what we've done, and they'll put the Democrats back in charge of Washington, or they'll give the keys to the city to the Republicans and see if the Republicans can do something about this fiscal crisis, or we'll end up with divided government. In either one of those scenarios, you're going to see a concerted effort to try to work together on some things. Tammy Duckworth and I sat in front of the Chicago Tribune editorial board for an hour, and they asked her 5 times. They told her 5 times, Ms. Duckworth, you understand that right now Medicare will be broke in 12 years. It will be gone in 12 years, and that number could move up. I mean, bankrupt, gone, disappeared. What are you prepared to do about that? And she said, I'm not ready to look at it. They asked her again and again, and she said, I'm not ready to deal with that. If you're not ready to deal with that, and there are other people in Washington who are there, understand how serious this is. 10,000 Americans are retiring every single day. And we're not living till we're 62 or 3. We're living into our 90s. It is by far the biggest, fastest growing piece of the deficit, the debt, the nation's budget. But I want to make this point. There are people in Washington that are ignoring that fundamental fact. They are ignoring the biggest, fastest growing piece of the federal budget. If you're going to ignore that, you're not serious. You know what I find fascinating and I find offensive? And this was the point I was trying to make with Sandra Fluke and with this Democratic thing called a war on women. So our country's house is burning down. People are unemployed. People are losing their homes. We're flat broke. And for some reason, Democrats think that only women aren't smart enough to understand all of that or remember all of that if I mentioned the words abortion and contraception. I'm amazed that no one's written an article about how demeaning that is toward women. Women understand every bit as much as men that this economy is in the tank. I don't know. I think if you polled women and asked for the biggest issues of the day, they would say jobs and the economy and debt. So why do Democrats think all I need to do is mention contraceptives or abortion? And women, only uniquely women, will forget that their husband's unemployed. They'll forget that their sister's house is in foreclosure. I find that to be terribly demeaning.